Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? I know we all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip the whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives, right? So let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me in everything is my life partner, Nina.
So school started, right? And, traffic stops.
Yeah, this morning, going to my business networking meeting, oh my God, it was like buses after buses filled with kids. And, a trip that normally takes me 10 minutes ended up being like 20.
So I guess that would be a source of stress.
Definitely. Like I was okay with it because I was expecting it, but I did take, told you, whole crap. Whole full of buses, right? So yeah, I expected. I knew school started this week, and I tried to get a little earlier, but life happens, and I got there in time.
So California did a study on the California kids, and even for kids, they found that 87% of the kids between 14 and 25, I guess like teenage kind of thing, they have mental challenges on a regular basis. They are stressed out. They are burned out.
So you're saying like mental challenges. What type of challenges are they experiencing?
Well, depression, feeling lonely. I don't know. I'm not that age.
Yeah, it's just those areas where they're feeling they're not belonging, I guess, right?
I guess it wasn't a problem that we had during our time, but I think things changed. The world changed. So I guess kids are burned out, and of course, adults, we are also burned out. And studies showed that 63.6% of workers, they self-identify as feeling burned out at work.
Wow, and and they're being burned out from their workload. It's funny. Today I was with a business networking friend, and he told me he had 7 kids.
You did?
Yeah, and I was like, 7 kids, and he's our age. I don't know how he does it. He should be completely burned out. He's doing really great, by the way. But I'm sure kids is a major form of burnout also for a lot of adults, right?
Yeah, so I guess for most people, it's like the workload, the kids, finances, aging parents. You just feel like you're kind of sandwiched in between all these obligations and people that's needing you for whatever it is.
I totally agree. And, what are some of the signs of burnout?
Well, the first sign that is actually pretty obvious is exhaustion. So that is the main symptom of a burnout, and it could be a physical exhaustion. It could be a mental exhaustion. Emotionally, they fatigue. And when that happens, people tend to undermine other people's ability to work effectively because they kind of just dragging you down. So this can be because they're just simply overworked. I used to have those jobs that work 24/7. Just round the clock. There's a lot of time pressure, or simply there's just too much to do. There's a lot of layoffs going around, and if you don't get laid off, you're the one picking up the work. And so that much, you just have that much more work you have to do.
And to be honest, just the thought of being the next one being laid off, that's sort of scary too. I've been talking to a lot of my California friends, and they say, yeah, this round didn't get laid off, but I'm sure they're feeling, that exhaustion, that burnout, even though they're not telling me, because I can hear it in their voice. when's it going to be their turn, right?
Yeah, and it also has to do with the lack of control, right? And you can probably sense a lot of the cynicism when you talk to them. They just depersonalized. They want to be at distance from all these obligations. The thought that they may get laid off is definitely a point of stress. And, they tend to be distance themselves away from work just because they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So instead of feeling invested in the work, feeling like you have a purpose, you are doing something good for your work, you're feeling detached, negative, maybe even callous.
And that's funny because everyone wants to make a difference in the world now, but if they're being cynical, it's hard to be seeing a much brighter world when everything just seems so dark around you, right?
And of course, with the layoff, that you see all around in the tech field, there's a lot of feeling of the inefficacy, feeling like, man, am I doing a good enough job? Am I going to make this round? Am I doing better than this other guy that might get laid off? So all these symptoms of burnouts that they're feeling they're slipping away, they don't know what's going to happen. And, in a lot of situations, they just don't know how to finish their jobs anymore.
That's so true, and that's crazy. And it's sort of sad that so many people in general are feeling burnout, and some of them may be burning out without even knowing they're burning out, right? So how would you measure burnout?
Well, there is actually a geeky way to measure this. It's called the Maslach Burnout Inventory. So go figure, you can look it up in Wikipedia.
It's MBI, right?
It's
short for
called
MBI.
It was developed in 1981, and they have a list of 22 symptoms that they use to evaluate occupational burnout, so which is primarily really for workplaces. And, people have been using it. I'm not going to go into details. I don't pay attention to this. For me, if I'm burned out, there's something I know what to do, and there's something that you can control. If you feel like you're lacking control in your workplace, you can control other parts of your life. So find a balance.
That is so true. That's so true. And it's funny. I'm sure, HR is having a field day. And one of my best friends today, I was talking to her daughter, and she's saying she's graduating 1 year early, which is great. I'm congratulating her. And I asked her what field she's going. She's going to human resources, which is great. I think, every company needs it. And I think the HRs are burning out too, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of opportunity for her, and she just loved being around people and helping people. So I think it was a perfect fit for her.
Interesting. HR was my least favorite subject in school. Just because there's all these people that you have to deal with, and it's not just the person itself, right? It's not you're not just evaluating a personal skill set. You also have to see how they fit in with the other team. Do they fit into the culture and what kind of person they are? And of course, nowadays they stalk you on social media.
That's so true. It's like you have to be careful what you say on there because that may not be appropriate for the business, right? So true, so true.
So there are some other signs of burnout especially for teenagers nowadays.
Correct.
They just don't know how to deal with, and there's something that we don't have that much during our time because there's no social media. We don't see it that much from the news and all these sources. But racism is a big source. Social injustice, of course, and which makes them feel a lot of anxiety, a lot of lack of optimism, and a lack of motivation. It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I in this world? So a lot of teenagers are now feeling depressed, overwhelmed, maybe even lonely.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to is, like you mentioned, social media. Everyone's got a gazillion friends on one platform or another. And I always ask them, is like, are these actually your friends? Can you call them up and say, hey, I'm in town. Can I crash at your place one night? If they, ghost you, or no answer, well, guess what? They're not your friends, right? And I think that's where we never had this problem because when we have spare time, finish your homework, we're out. We're never home. We're out with friends. So we have that social aspect, hanging out with real people. And I think that's why you got this emotional support from your friends. Now it's really hard if it's all virtual, right?
Yeah, this whole thing with Facebook in particular, because they call everybody friends, you kind of thought they were friends, but they're not. They're just really people that knew you, or maybe don't barely know you.
Yeah.
They're just following you for some reason.
And going one step further, we'll see how it goes. But the whole meta virtual universe, everyone's going to be a virtual friend. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, this whole thing about watching other people's highlight reels and compare to your own life, it's a source of depression by itself.
I totally agree.
So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have...
Kristy's Kids Corner.
Oh, okay. There you go. See you back here.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy our later years full of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often, with age, our bodies start to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing and recovery time, sleep, it all just seems to go downhill. Unless you're using LifeWave X39, the world's first product ever to activate stem cells. A true breakthrough in regenerative science that helps restore our bodies to a healthier, more youthful state. The secret? By harnessing the power of LifeWave's patented phototherapy, X39 uses light to elevate a peptide proven to signal the activation of stem cells. Think about it. These are the cells that generate and regenerate all the cells and structures of the human body. They're the building blocks for our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an internal repair system everywhere. But as we age, stem cells become less effective. Their ability to repair damaged tissue is reduced. In fact, by age 60, they've slowed dramatically. But all that changes when just one LifeWave X39 patch is placed anywhere on the body each day. It's time you experience the power of X39.
Hi everybody, Kristy here. To start this week, our pencil sharpeners. These cute little pencil sharpeners that are kid size, that can fit in their little pencil boxes, they're adorable, but they are a pain. The kids play with them, they share them, they lose them, they're constantly sharpening their pencils with them, they don't work very well, and they just end up just being mostly a big distraction and a time waste. Instead, just let the kids use the pencil sharpener in the classroom. Teachers always get a good 1 or 2 or sometimes even 3 good pencil sharpeners in the room, and the kids are allowed to get up and sharpen their pencils. The next thing is erasers. This is one of my little personal peeves. Please do not buy these cute and silly erasers. Yes, they are adorable, but they don't work, and they just end up tearing paper and getting lost and being played with as toys. They're not worth the money. Also, the type of erasers that go on the tops of pencils, they split and fall off and then become, yes, you guessed it, a big distraction. Please do not buy these. Also, do not even waste your money on liquid whiteout. It glops onto the paper, it makes a huge mess, and then when the kids write over it, you can't read it. Instead, invest in a white or a pink eraser. I personally prefer the white ones. These, first of all, these last forever. You can see I've used this one a lot, and I still have most of my eraser left. It lasts forever, and they actually work. They're inexpensive, and they're not a distraction. Hi, and welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. I am so pleased to welcome back Suzanne Garcia. Welcome back, Suzanne. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Kristy. It's so great to be back again. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. She is a life coach who specializes in working with parents. She has over 20 years of experience as an educator and is a mother of 2 college-age kids. Woo! She has the experience to help with parenting challenges, ranging from becoming a new parent to becoming an empty nester, and everything in between. And we know there's a lot in between.
There is a lot.
Her non-judgmental and individualized approach to coaching empowers her clients to set and achieve the goals they have for their families. She loves helping her clients find balance in the child-raising years. How are you, Suzanne?
I'm doing really great. How are you doing, Kristy?
Oh, really well. I love summer.
but it's coming to an end.
It is coming to an end. And I know that time when it's like summer is ending and back to school is starting, and it can be like, what, for parents.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand that you're giving them hope.
Yes, hope, because I think there can be a lot of anxiety when the school year is starting, and there can be a lot of anxiety all year long. So I love acronyms. So hope for a school year is what I have. And the H is for healthy living. The O is for organization. The P is for positive communication. And the E is for enjoy this time.
So important. Enjoy every minute, because you blink and it'll be gone.
Oh, yeah. Anyone who's an empty nester will be like, yes, that is true.
Yes. Well, let's dive into the H, healthy living, which includes, I would assume, nutrition and getting enough sleep and plenty of exercise. And
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that health is the foundation for everything, and that goes along with what Andy's doing on his show. But when you're thinking about your kids and you're thinking about even yourself as parents, you got to start with your health. So it's just basic things. What are you eating? What are you feeding yourself? And I know, I speak from experience. I remember those days where you're just on the go all the time. You get out kids from school and you're onto the activities, and sometimes there's just not time to cook. So you end up going through the drive-through or ordering out or whatever. So that's not always the best option. It's not always the healthiest option. And so just try to think about, what are you eating and what are you feeding your kids? Because all of that's going to affect their brains and how well they're going to do in school. So, there is no perfect, but if you're doing drive-through a lot, like 4 or 5 times a week, see if you can just get it down to reduce it by 1 time a week. And, looking for like that balance, those 3 balanced meals. I mean, make sure, please feed your kids breakfast before they go to school. They cannot function during the day. They don't eat lunch till, 11 o'clock at the earliest, maybe. And they need that food to fuel their brain. Otherwise, they're missing out on a lot of learning. That's half their day of learning.
I have to interrupt there. As a former teacher, please give them protein. Yes. Please do not load them up with sugar, because they will be asleep at their desk by 9:30.
Right. That's also, as a former teacher, I mean, you're up there going, come on. Like they're all just comatose, and you're like, what did you have for breakfast? And these are the answers: nothing, or some kind of like sugary cereal. And you think, wow, I mean, that's not feeding your brain. So like you said, protein, and it doesn't have to be like, you could get some like turkey sausages and feed them a turkey sausage. I mean, that takes no time to warm up in the microwave, and it's some protein. Even scrambling eggs doesn't take a lot of time. And just leave the dishes in the sink till you get home. Like whoever's doing the dishes for dinner that night, they can just wash those dishes at night. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And, just trying to feed them a good, healthy, balanced diet, get some fruits and vegetables in there during the day, healthy carbs, that kind of stuff. And then again, exercise is super important. There's so many things you can do. I know we're in the Houston area. It is so hot, even in August, September, it's just hot to be outside. But, if you can get out and do some kind of just play chase for a little while or something, just send the kids outside and say, go outside and play for 15 minutes. Get them
or go swimming.
Yeah, for sure. The pools will probably be open until Labor Day, right? So, those kinds of things. And even if it's too hot or raining or something, there's a lot of things. Like there's yoga for kids that you can get on YouTube, and little exercises and little dance things. I mean, it's fun. So they could be doing that while you're cooking a nice, healthy dinner for them. And then sleep. Sleep is super important. Like I think I preach this every year that I was teaching. Like if you're not getting enough sleep, it's just like nutrition. I mean, you might as well, sometimes I'm thinking you might as well not even come to school, because your brain just isn't functioning. You cannot learn. You cannot retain the content. You can't remember it. It makes them have to study so much more at night, which then makes them get less sleep. It's like a vicious cycle.
Oh, yeah.
So, put an end to it. Just get the sleep and then start to catch up that way.
Exactly. And please don't send your kids to school if they're sick. I can't tell you how many times I've let a kid sleep under my desk because they could not, they were at that level. They just couldn't function.
Oh, for sure. So, and I mean, you get it, right? I mean, I know sometimes parents don't have an option. I mean, they just can't, like they have a big meeting, they have something. So, and the teachers are going to take care of them. I mean, I did the same thing. It was like, okay, I'm going to put you in the back of the room, put your head down. I'm going to print out the notes for you. Like, we're going to get you through this day. But that's hard, and it's hard. And you just look at them, they're miserable, you just think, poor things. They need to be at home in bed.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that's one's pretty easy. Yeah. Eating healthy, exercise, some sleep. Those are the basics. What about I love this one. Organization.
Organization is the key to success, I think. I mean, I taught sixth grade for most of my career, and that was what I would tell my sixth graders. Like, if you're not organized, nothing's going to work for you. Like, that was in the beginning of the year. I spent like an entire week on like, let's just get our binder organized. Where does it go? A lot of training, where does this page go? Everybody put it in there. Because kids resist this. It's not, I mean, you do have some kids that are like natural born organizers. Yeah. Thank God for them. There's always a couple in every class that's like, I'll organize everybody's binder for them. Yeah. Yes. But most kids are like, I'm just going to throw this paper in my backpack. And that makes sense. But I think organization starts at home. So if your home is unorganized, that's okay. Again, there's no judgment. It happens. We've all been there. It happens to all of us. And I don't like in my house, things get unorganized and then we're like, no, and we clean it all up and we get it organized. And this is constant flow of, it's organized and then it's not, and then it's organized and it's not. And that's okay. I mean, do what works for you and your family, but try to keep it organized. And I think one thing you can do is say, we're going to take 10 to 15 minutes at the end as part of our bedtime routine, and everybody pick up their stuff and put it where it belongs. Because it doesn't take a long time and doesn't get out of control. Because if you wait till Saturday or Sunday, sometimes it can be so far gone that the whole family is looking at it and like, where do we even start? And it's overwhelming. So once you get things organized, just maintain it 5, 10, 15 minutes a night. And that
includes their backpack.
Oh, for sure.
I know, like, it's like, okay, we're going to go through the backpack. We're going to, do your homework. We're going to organize it, put it back in the backpack and have it by the door ready to go the next morning. And then you're off the hook for the rest of the evening.
And that's having a whole system and a routine in place there for that backpack. And the backpack is really important because, I mean, you're helping teach your kids how to do that. You're modeling for them. You're kind of coaching them along in that way. And some kids, like my son, for example, resisted this. And you have to be consistent with it. It took me 4 years to get him to buy into being organized. And I just was never going to give up. And now he's super organized. He's off in college in England. He manages all by himself. He can do it all. But in elementary school, I wondered, I was like, what's going to happen to this kid? But I never gave up on him. And at some point, he finally realized, like, if I just take like the 10 seconds at the end of class to put my things in the places where they belong, like my papers, I'm not going to have to come home and sit with my mom for 30 minutes. Because I would just say, sit down and put it where it belongs. You're not getting off the, away from the table until every paper is where it belongs and everything's packed up by the door and ready to go. Mm-hmm. So it took a little while.
I had the same experience with my nephew. And then one day it clicked in. And then when he entered high school, which was right after that, he's like, Aunt Chris, I just do everything you say, and I'm on top of everything, and all my friends, they're just like so confused all the time, and I'm like, it's so easy.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. And sometimes it takes a while because everybody has, their own organizational style. So, maybe like one of your kids likes a folder for each class. Maybe one kid likes one binder that zips up or whatever. Just you might have to try different things to figure out what works for them, and that's okay. Just, keep experimenting, but have that expectation and hold them accountable. And it makes their lives so much easier. You've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it. The kids who are standing out their lockers or their, in their cubby or whatever, and it's just a mess. They can't find it. And it's so stressful. It creates so much anxiety for them. So you can eliminate that by just having having the organization, having the systems, having the routines in place.
Yes, exactly. Such a good tip. Okay. The P in hope, positive communication. Oh my gosh. I've been talking about this with everybody lately. how important that is, especially with kids.
Yes. So I think, there's a lot of anxiety, I think, with teachers and parents about communicating with each other. I'm actually writing a book about this right now. And I think the main key is to remember that the adults in the room have the exact same goals. Everybody, whether it's the parents or the teachers, the administration, we all want the same thing. We want the kids to grow academically, socially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, the whole child. We want them to grow. And so when you remember, like, hey, we're on the same side and we have the same goals and we want the same thing, let's work together. Now, we're all people. Parents are going to make mistakes. Teachers are going to make mistakes. Kids are going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. It's going to happen every school year. It's going to happen more than once. Sometimes they're serious, right? Sometimes we get bent out of shape over small things. So, really look at like why am I reacting like this? And is it really a big deal? Like in 2 years, am I going to even remember this? So some things maybe you just have to let them go and have that learning experience with your child of, I'm sorry your teacher said that. Maybe they're having a bad day or whatever. If it continues and if it's serious, then instead of having, because, Mama Bear and Papa Bear want to come out all the time. So we love our kids and we want to defend them and advocate for them and everything. And we absolutely have to do that. But when you feel Mama and Papa Bear emerging, I think the best thing you can do is to take it down and wait 24 to 48 hours until you calm down. And then send a curious email, not an accusatory email, or even better, have a phone conference if you can. Because I think a lot gets lost in communication in an email. People misinterpret tone and attitude and everything. I know that emails it seems like it's the easiest way and it is the fastest, but go into the situation from a curiosity. Can you please explain what's going on? My son or my daughter told me this. I want to know what your side of the story is, please, but not in accusing. Get the facts and find out what happened. And just keep in mind, we're on the same side. We want the same thing. We want my child to grow. And find out what's going on. And then take it from there. But if you send off that angry email, that teacher is freaking out. They're like, oh my gosh, this parent's mad at me. And they get very stressed. They get defensive. And it just creates this whole stressful, anxiety-filled situation when, really you're just wanting the same thing. So I think it's best to just be curious. I have a major story for that, which is for another time for my It's true. And you can accomplish so much more when you're and then when you talk, okay, what can we do to solve this problem together? As a parent, I'm on your side. What is happening? And please hold your kids accountable for their actions, because if a teacher is angry or upset, or, if your kid comes home and is like, well, my teacher's yelling at me all the time, your kid is going to say, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me, because that's human nature, self-preservation, right? Nobody wants to admit when they've done something wrong. And that's totally normal and to be expected. But as adults, we also know our children, okay, they're not innocent, perfect little, perfect little children sitting there all the time. They probably are talking or maybe not following directions or whatever sometimes. And that's okay. Your kids don't have to be perfect. And we want to teach them, how to behave, how to grow in that social, emotional way as well. And so, being curious, being open, getting the facts, working together, you can accomplish so much with your child's teacher if you guys are on that same page and you're like, okay, let's get this child to grow.
That is so valid. And I have to say that when teachers approach it the same way with parents, it opens a door, and then it's I've experienced the triangulation that kids do, mommy said I could, dad. Oh, okay. And then dad gets yelled at by mom because she didn't really say that. And kids will do that with teachers too.
For sure. Because kids want attention. Okay. So keep in mind, they want as much attention as they can get, and they will get any attention they can. So if they know they can stir up trouble between mom and dad and the teacher, they're going to eat it up. Even though that is negative attention, they're still getting attention. So flip it around and give them the positive attention that they need working with the teacher, because then they can get massive attention. They can get like positive teacher attention, positive mom and positive dad attention, and even maybe administration as well. If it, you know, goes up that high, of them, you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing and, you know, showing that academic growth and that social, emotional, all that kind of growth, they can get all of the compliments and everything that way, instead of, you know, bringing that division between all the parties.
Exactly. That I love that you said that, because whenever I've been able to do that with parents, and there are a few that they're going to scream no matter what. They just have to be right, or even if they're wrong, and they won't hear. But most parents respond very, very well to the, hey, you know, let's discuss this, and here's what's going on. And especially when I can say, here's all the evidence.
Exactly. It's true. And I think, you know, if you get an email from a teacher, my rule of thumb is if a teacher emails you and says, you know, your child's not listening, or your child's not following directions, you know, obviously they say it hopefully more positive than that, but that's the gist, right? You as a parent, my rule of thumb from my kids was, because I'm a teacher, that means that teacher has probably already done they've given you warnings, timeouts, you name it. Like, this has been going on for a long time, and now I'm getting mom and dad involved. So I am, you know, maybe I waited too long, but I'm at this didn't just start today.
Exactly.
This has been going on. I have done everything I can, but now I need your help. So please help me out as a teacher, because I want what's best for your child, you know?
Yes. Okay, well, let's dissect that. Let's go to enjoy. Now, see, here we go. Even with, generally speaking, when you have the doors of communication open, everything flows just so much easier. And so let's get to the enjoyment. Let's get to the fun.
I mean, you know, when you think about this time, it goes by so fast, no matter how old your kids are. I mean, even if you just have like a 1-month-old in your house right now, just imagine how fast this month has gone by. Actually, maybe you're sleep deprived. It's been horrible. But it does go by so fast. So, you know, thinking about, I think it's very easy for people and parents, for all of us, to just start thinking about all the have tos and the shoulds, and like, I need to do this and I have to do that. And that can really like bog you down. Shift your thinking, because these little kids that we have in our houses are such huge blessings. And so when you think about, like, I get to cook dinner for them, I get to wash their clothes for them, I get to change their diaper, you know, it changes the mentality, and you can come at it with just a lot more love and enthusiasm, and you can enjoy it. Take that time to really stop what you're doing and look at your kids at every stage, and try to like take a snapshot in your mind of, you know, even if you're arguing with them about doing homework, this is not going to last forever. You know, they're not going to be in school forever. I mean, this is going to pass, but it's a time, you know, remember that, because someday they're going to have kids and they're going to have the same argument, and they're going to be like, what did you do? You know, get me to do my work. And just,
also you can just, exactly. You can also make with older kids, you know, getting them involved in chores, instead of making it a do your chores kind of thing, make it a fun, like put on music and mop the floor with, you know, boogie with the mop or something. I mean, I know it's not possible to do that all the time, but
no, but it is fun, and it makes it fun, and it creates a lot of memories. And the more you can just take all of those mundane things and turn it into something fun, even if it's like telling a joke or something, it creates that bond that you can have with your family. It creates the memories. It creates all of these good times that you think about. I mean, even mopping the floor, we had fun doing that last week. You know, most time it's not, but that was so fun when we did it that way, that one time. And just, you know, try to turn it around into a positive instead of a negative when you're going through all these things. And I mean, as always, anytime you're implementing something new, you're trying to get your kids to eat healthier, be organized, or, be positive about their teachers, it can be difficult. So that's where I come in. You can hire me as a coach to get you through it and find the strategies that work for you and your family.
Oh, well, on that note, how can we reach you? How can we find you?
You can reach me on my website. So there's a lot of buttons on there to contact me, SuzanneGarciaLifeCoach.com. You can email me at Suzanne@SuzanneGarciaLifeCoach.com, and I will get right back to you. And you can even call me 281-851-9008 or send me a text message, whichever works for you. And I'm here. I'm happy to help and just want to help parents have that love, that balance, and enjoy this time, because it does go by fast, and just want these families to have that special bond and enjoy all their time together.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Stay tuned. Coming up next is our biohacking tip of the week. Hi, everyone. This is Kristy Boyd-Johnson of the Barefoot Learning Club. It is a sad fact that today politics have completely taken over the schools. Real learning has been sacrificed for political agendas. As a result, kids are not learning to read. We have second and third graders barely reading, except for those lucky kids who will read no matter what the schools do to them. Unfortunately, that is not the majority. When I was teaching, I watched how really good reading systems were systematically eliminated from the schools. I saw kids shutting down and believing that they were too dumb to learn. Worse still, by making reading unattainable, they are essentially stealing our kids' futures. So the rebel that is me went on a quest to find reading programs that really work, that work with our neurological systems to enhance and speed up the learning process. And the number one thing that needs to happen is that we have to teach our kids to read. That is why Alicia and I started the Barefoot Learning Club. We are giving everyone the opportunity to learn to read in a way that is simple, fast, and fun. Best of all, your kids will start having success and never again believe that they are too dumb to learn. Go to barefootlearningclub.com now and sign up. Join me in being a rebel, and let's get our kids reading. If they can read, they can literally do anything.
Hi, this is Mina from Chronically Healthy Life. So in this week's biohacking, I want to show you a few of the herbs that is calming. So, we talk a lot about stress and burnout and overwhelm and all that, the depression, all that stuff. And what you have to do is really do some self-care. And it starts with what you put into your mouth, basically, right? So I have a few herbs here that some you might be familiar with, the others you might not be. So here's 4 that I use in my tinctures. The first one is actually lavender flowers. You're probably familiar with it. Lavender is used in a lot of the essential oils, and you can also just buy dry flowers online, and you can use that to make your own herbal tinctures. The next one is called linden flowers. Again, these are all ground up, but it smells great, and it has a really good calming effect. And this third one here, I know they all look about the same, but it actually smells very different. The third one is a passion flower. And this one is also very calming. It smells great. And it's just, comes in a ground up dry form. And this last one, this is not a flower. This is called oat straw. I can't tell you exactly what it is. It looks like ground up straw. But anyway, so what I do is I put in these 4 herbs, and I put in make my own tincture. I show you how to do tinctures before. You basically put in all your herbs in a jar, and you add high alcohol content, something like a 190 proof alcohol content. Make sure it's organic, and you leave it in a jar and put it in a dark place for about 4 to 6 weeks. You just let it sit every day. You shake it around a bit, and then you get your tincture. So that's one way. That's what I did, and this is what this is. And what I would do is I would put them into a little dropper bottle, and at night, what we do is we pour out a little glass of water kefir that I showed you how to make before. We always have some in the fridge. So we pour a little bit of those into a wine glass and put in about 10 drops of my calming tincture and just drink it down. And that's one way to relieve stress and to calm down, to settle your nerves and just take the edge off. And of course, while you're doing that, make sure you're not, playing video games or watching social media posts or something. Do something that's calming while you're taking these in will be more effective. If you really want to take the edge off, there's a lot of other things you need to do when you wound down before you go to bed, and we'll talk about that in the episode also. Again, my name is Minna, and this is Chronically Healthy Life.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. And, this whole episode, we're talking about overcoming stress, overcoming burnout. So what's the best ways to overcome burnout and stress?
Well, August 15th is the National Relaxation Day.
Time to relax.
So it's the best time to talk about self-care and how to relieve stress. And, to me, the biggest thing is sleep. It's, how well my sleep is will determine how well my following day is going to go.
That is so true. And, I think when it comes to sleep, a lot of people just think that you sleep better when you're very, very tired. And that's not always the case, right?
No, it's not true. And when I'm really, really tired, I do have a hard time sleeping. And I notice that if I'm eating too much or too close to when I sleep, I also don't have a good night's sleep.
For sure. We always try to eat at least 3 hours before we sleep, at least.
And don't eat too much.
Exactly. And then, we like to meditate. Minna's got her meditation naps. I put on my meditation nap when I'm on my PEMF red light therapy table, and that helps me relax, help me restore before I actually go to sleep. And sometimes I actually fall asleep, right?
Well, if you don't like to meditate, there are other forms of restorative exercises like yoga and any other stuff you can do, which is just as good. And of course, stay off the news.
Yes, the news is the things that's going to keep your mind thinking. You have to remember this: when you're sleeping, your mind's going to be thinking about the last thing that you saw or heard, right? If you listen to news and, news is always bad news, right? So now your brain is just concentrating on bad things that's happening, and who's going to be able to sleep with that, right?
So there are other ways to reduce stress. My favorite one is to play with your pets.
Exactly. They definitely keep us young. They keep each other young, but they definitely put us in a much better spot. It's like at nighttime when we're chillaxing. My best part is when Patty just comes and lies on my chest for the evening. It's so relaxing, right?
If they chill, you chill.
Exactly. And then, I think, in the show Karate Kid, remember Mr. Miyagi, bonsai plants, that's supposed to release stress. I killed every bonsai plant I tried to trim, but apparently it's a thing. If you can get in that Zen zone, buy a bonsai plant and occasionally trim it and get the tie. I don't know. I told you I killed all my bonsai plants, but that's also a thing too to help people release stress, right?
Yeah, the goal of doing the bonsai or the exercises is to take your mind off whatever it is that give you the stress and put you in a different zone. So that will release stress, and that's part of self-care. And you really need to do that. I
agree. And National Relaxation Day has passed, but it doesn't mean we can't do it as a National Relaxation Week, right? So we're hoping that people will try some of these things that we suggested to try to relax and take away some of the stress and burnout that you might be feeling.
And you forgot one of them. So one of the things that I found that would work really well to take the burnout out of you is actually philanthropy acts. Like helping people, helping the pets or people or whoever it is, do something that makes you feel good, that you're not getting paid for. Correct. That's how I say it. It actually helps. It helps with your burnout. It makes you feel like you have more purpose in life. It makes you feel better, and you're also at the same time helping helping other people, and it de-stresses you.
That's so true. You're helping others that can't help themselves, and there's no better feeling than that, right?
There you go. So
coming right up, we're going to have our business community, our business community outreach guest, and check it out. When we hear chronically, we tend to think about chronic diseases and pains, but it doesn't have to be. You can be chronically healthy. Having a chronically healthy life means everything to us. Life stands for longevity, independence, family, and environment. And when you have these 4 things figured out, your life is going to be beautiful.
Our biggest threat to our health is hidden in plain sight. It is in our water. We can't see the poison and the radiation in our waters, but it is hurting us. Our soils are so depleted of nutrients, and when our soils are depleted, so are our foods. Our air is filled with pollution and chemtrails that there are days when we can't even go out and breathe the air. All these threats that we can't see, we can't hear, and we can't feel, but it is certainly hurting us.
There are more and more unexplained heart attacks, unexplained terminal cancer, unexplained young health adults suddenly dying for no explanation at all. Doctors are baffled. What happens when doctors don't have an answer? What happens if you ask your teacher a question and they don't have an answer for you? You go find your answer somewhere else.
And that's why we created Chronically Healthy Life. We are here to give you answers on how to keep you healthy and your family healthy. There is so much information, we can't tell you everything during our show, but we can keep you informed through our newsletters.
So go to chronicallyhealthylife.com and sign up for our newsletters. It is free and it is our gift to you. We want you to have a chronically healthy life, and we are here to help you get there. So go to chronicallyhealthylife.com and sign up. And when you sign up, you also get a free downloadable book, our book, Gut Matters, to start you on your journey towards optimal health. Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life Show. Each week, we like to highlight a local community business that we know and trust, and that we like to recommend to our viewers out there. And this week, we have Mark Fuselier.
Yes.
With Fit20. And Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what Fit20 is all about and how you help the community?
Great. Thanks, Andy. Well, Fit20 is a studio that does slow motion strength training. And strength training is super critical, especially as you age, because if you're not working out, you start losing muscle mass and you lose bone density. And you can feel yourself getting weaker, your joints start hurting, you lose energy. And really, the problem is nobody has time to go to a gym, and the gyms are always crowded anyway. So at Fit20, you come in once a week by appointment for 20 minutes in a private studio setting, and you get all the benefits that you get at a gym. So we help people who are busy or people who don't want to spend hours every week working out at a gym. We help those folks look better and feel better.
That's awesome. So, there are a couple of points in there that I just want to highlight and pick your brains a little bit. You mentioned that you're doing super slow training and you're actually improving joints. And I know a lot of gym guys out there with all the workouts are actually destroying their joints. So do you want to do just a quick update on how that all works?
Yes, because we all know somebody who works as a gym rat and they end up hurting their shoulders or hurting their knees. With slow motion training, it actually is a low impact training. So that slow motion movement really makes your joint muscles work. And when they work like that, they actually get strengthened. They're bolstered by the training. So essentially, I've had people who've had like lower back pain, or people who've had pain in their knees or their elbows or their shoulders. After working out with me for a few months, that pain starts getting alleviated. So it's a very, very good for your joints.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Which is so important because we have an aging population. We need to take care of ourselves too, right?
Indeed.
The second point I want to point out is you mentioned 20 minutes a week.
Yes.
Right. So this is going to fit into anyone's schedule. And I always tell people you don't need to work out that long, but once a week. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, why it's only once a week?
Sure, and I don't want to get too technical either, right? But everybody has 4 muscle fiber types, right? And in this workout methodology, you actually reach all 4 muscle fiber types, and even the fight or flight muscles. And those fight or flight muscles are very hard to get to, even when you're just doing normal training in a gym. Here, we actually recruit them. And when you get those muscles involved, they actually require a lot of time to recover. 5 to 7 days to recover fully.
Nice.
That's why it's once a week, because you have to enable those muscles to recover. Because as you know, recovery is just as important as the workout.
Yes. And finally, you mentioned this is in a private studio session, right? So you're basically monitoring whoever you're training at all times. There's no chance of injuries. Correct. And you're going to get an awesome workout, right?
That is correct. That is one thing that I'm very, very detailed on, if you want to say that, because I make sure that everybody's posture is right and that their motion is correct, because I don't want to have any injuries.
Correct.
And I mean, the slow motion lends itself to an injury-free workout as well.
Great. And I can attest to that because I did come to one of his free sessions. His first session is free, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, and I was tired for like a good 5 days after, and it's very hard to get me tired of a workout. So Mark, what is the best way for viewers to reach you and get in contact with you to get the first lesson?
Sure. Our phone number is 346-348-2089, and you can call or text, both. Or you can reach out to us via email at masonplace@fit20usa.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mark. And, just throwing it out there, we're going to be having Mark on a future guest speaker episode talking about fitness and specific aging. So have a look for that. We're going to have that in about, maybe 2-3 weeks time. But yeah, thank you so much for being a guest on our show and being a guest for Business Community Outreach Month.
You bet. Thank you.
Hello. We are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Hey everyone, this is Araya McGarry. I'm the host of Get Celebritized with Araya McGarry, right here Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Limelight Network, right here on E360 TV.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. That was an intense commercial. So what do you have next week?
So next week, I'm actually going to be in Kansas City. So we're going to have a surprise. We're going to have a guest from the event in Kansas City. I'm going to Kansas City, not for vacation, but I'm going to be at a speaking event called Becoming the Best You.
Okay.
And, we're going to have a surprise guest. I'm not going to say who yet, but we'll have a surprise guest for next week's episode. And, hopefully maybe we can get something from Becoming Best You. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. So join us back here next Friday on 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com in the Vitality TV network. And of course, we love to hear from you. So you can give us your comments on our Facebook page, Chronically Healthy Life. You can also rewatch this episode and all our past episodes on our website, chronicallyhealthylife.com. or on a YouTube channel, or you can, of course, any questions, email us at anything@chronicallyhealthylife.com. We'll see you next week.